Hey guys, so today we're going to review a really interesting video I found on the magical, wonderful, fantastic world of TikTok.
The dumbest thing a man can do is date a single mom, and I'm saying this as a single mom myself. The only exception to the rule is if the man has kids himself and he's a single dad. That's the only rule that is the exception. And I say this because, one, it's fucking stupid as a man to take on somebody else's kids when you don't have kids of your own. Now, do I think it makes women less valuable? No, I think that's a stupid rhetoric. But the idea that you're going to get emotionally attached to someone else's kids, and then if you break up, never fucking see them again, y'all are stupid. But not only that, it's like, as a single mom, I don't want to date somebody that doesn't have kids because he's not going to be in tune to automatically or naturally or organically be the dad. But also, if I didn't have my daughter, I wouldn't be out here trying to date a man with kids. Like, I get the logic behind it because I'm not going to be emotionally invested in somebody else's kids. Now, in my opinion, if he has kids and I have kids, then we're both equally risking the same thing if it doesn't work out, if that makes sense. Like, me as a single mom, I would never date someone with no kids. Like, so I don't know why women get so offended when men are like, oh, I don't date single moms. Like, I totally get it as a single mom myself. There's too much risk and not enough reward. Okay, bye.
All right, you heard it yourself. So she's saying that if you're a single man, no children, it's a bad idea to date a woman with children. She does say that the exception is that if you're a man with children, you should date a woman with children. And I've heard a lot of people, give that idea a thumbs up. I personally don't agree. I think that men can definitely have more than one woman. I think men can marry more than one woman. And also, I believe that when you look at the so-called statistics, men produce better children than women do as a single parent. And if you are a man with children, it's far different than a woman raising children by herself. So even if you have children as a man, I don't think you should target women that have children. It comes with a whole different background of situations, scenarios, and reasons for their breakup. We know that if a divorce were to occur, it's most likely women. If a relationship is going to end, is most likely women. So you're dating somebody who most likely is the reason for that relationship to end versus a person who most likely tried to make their relationship work. So going on to her next point, she's talking about how it's a rhetoric, right? That when a woman has children, that her value goes down. No, it's more than just rhetoric. It's more than just rhetoric. Let me give you reasons why you should not date a single mother that she agrees with but gave no reasons. Expenses is more expensive. You cannot discipline the children. You don't know what sort of background the father had or has. You don't know if the father's employed, unemployed. You don't know the legal repercussions coming with raising somebody else's children. In some states, if you buy a single mother diapers and you're babysitting, she could very well walk you up to that courthouse and try to have you pay child support. Marrying a woman, having all those children transfer their names to your last name, and then she leave. Really, she's only talking about emotional attachments. And I have a story at the end about a good friend of mine who I witnessed this occur. But moving on. So those are some of the reasons. Whereas when a man comes in with a child, is more likely structured. He more than likely tried to make that relationship work. A dad, most likely, by the way, a guy with children, most likely is paying child support on those kids and don't see their kids. It's very rare that the guy's gonna get custody. So even if a guy does have children, he's working and he's paying 40% or more of his check to the woman who he had those children with. So when he comes home, there's probably no children around. If he does have some sort of partial custody, it's most likely 3 days out of a week versus 4. So here comes a guy with some level of free time with a woman who most likely pushed for full custody. So at the end of the day, instead of creating children and sticking together, we're doing some sort of parent swap. And the advantages in a single dad dating a single mom really aren't that great. Whereas if you're a single dad, I'd advise you to just go find another woman who doesn't have children and try again. I think you're more likely to be successful that way than trying to unfold, heal, and repair all the he, she, say, damage, wounds, whatever therapy that needs to be done with a woman that has children by another man. If you are going to embark on that, and the woman does actually want to cooperate with you, it's one of those good situations, well, as good as it can be, where the woman actually does want to cooperate with you. What I recommend is the man that you're now dating, from perspective of a woman, like, let's say I was a woman dating a man, I would make sure that my new man, single dad or not, right, because there are men out there who still want to date single moms, I would make sure he actually is the one who's always addressing whatever needs to be done with the children, with the father of the child. So for example, if you're gonna give custody to the dad, right, and you guys are gonna swap kids or whatever at Target, Walmart, then your new man should be the one setting that up and handing the kids over. You should be the one actively communicating with your baby daddy. It shouldn't be you. So we can just leave all that extra drama out that comes with having a baby daddy. Because I've personally witnessed and been one of those guys who tried talking to one. Months later, she's still messing around with her baby daddy. So we can just cut that all out by just doing that simple step and having your new man basically do everything that needs to be done when it comes to your children. The part I do want to address is the whole attachment, because that's a really good part. I know guys who dated single moms, and there are so many single women with children that I'll holler at a woman with children. So not for a long term, but what can you do? They're just everywhere, right? And one of my good friends, he really got into a long-term relationship with her. He moved her in. He had nearly a 3-year lease with her. He was paying 80% of the bills. She was working part-time. He was picking her child up from school, taking her home, cooking for her. And at the end of the day, the lady, after some period of time, about 4 months or so, broke up with him, but continued to live with him. And he continued to do those duties. She wouldn't clean, she wouldn't cook. The original agreement was, help me with 40% of the rent. I'll do 60%. And then help out, keep the home neat and orderly. And obviously give physical intimacy. And she cut that all off. He said that it felt like living with a stranger. He had cameras, outside at home. So she would go on dates, come home, and he at work, he would see, while he's at work, she's at home, right? At work, he would see her with a strange man in front of the door, kissing, hugging, right? And then luckily, when he asked her to move out, she agreed, And in that whole process, the daughter is basically saying, why can't I see, dad anymore? He really got attached to her. The daughter and him had a whole ceremony of breaking up, and this guy was actually depressed. He had this woman, not just on the lease, on his credit cards, on his insurance. He would buy the daughter of the woman gifts. He was a really good guy to this woman, and it really did break his heart. He doesn't just address her, he addresses them. He equally reflects on the woman and the daughter.